Up next on Soul Television, The Dialogue.
Welcome to the dialogue this morning. My name is Prince Apollo. Every Saturday we sit to look at matters that made headlines through the week. Welcome to the show, and you can also join us or join the discussion in the studios via our platform, WhatsApp platform. Send your messages on WhatsApp and on the SMS platform as we look at what made the headlines in this week. We are concluding a very, very somber week in Uganda, especially after the passing of the General Elly Tumwine, and that will be part of our discussion, digging into his legacy and what the society portrays him like. And of course, the panel is set. Baguma Richard Tinkasimire is in the studios. I've been also joined by Dr. Gerard Werihe Wanzara. We expect Honorable Barnabas Tinkasimire to join us, and we kick off the show. Of course, other news in the week, we had unfortunate reports, actually a matter of concern, as the cow for Kitugum district was arrested on allegations that he mismanaged the parish development model funds. Very unfortunate there. And of course, on the western border, we also had reports of an Ebola outbreak, again in the Democratic Republic of Congo, after one person was confirmed dead due to Ebola in Beni, the eastern town of Beni. And of course, international organizations, UNICEF and WHO, have confirmed that indeed there could be a threat of Ebola in the DRC. This particular case has been related to a strain that that was identified in Congo in 2018, and this particular strain killed more than 2,000 people in the eastern part of the country. That's another matter of concern. And within the week, of course, we have to also look at the investigations into the management of the national carrier, Uganda Airlines, that is ongoing in the Committee of Parliament. And that is another topic we will just give some time looking at what is actually happening in that committee. But across the eastern border in Kenya, the Kenyans are still waiting for a very, very tough legal battle between the Azimio la Umoja camp and the Kenya Kwanza camp after the veteran opposition politician Raila Odinga this week filed a petition in the Supreme Court challenging the victory of Dr. William Ruto, the president-elect. As we speak, the respondents, Dr. William Ruto's camp, have already filed their defense. It's a legal battle raging across the border. We'll get time also to look at that big issue across the border. But the highlight of the week, like I said, is the passing of General Elly Tumwine. But let me first introduce my guests in the studios. Richard Baguma Tinkasimire, a communication specialist. He is well acquainted with matters of nutrition, matters of pageantry, everything. Welcome to the program once again.
Yeah, thank you very much, Apollo. It's nice to have you back.
Thank you.
From Nairobi. I am hoping that you are going to confess to our viewers that you did not bring us chocolate. You enjoyed alone. But it's a somber moment, of course, for General Tumwine. General Tumwine's passing. We knew that he was ailing.
Yeah. Really.
But you see, ultimately the decision is in the hands of God. We all agree. So we condole. We condole with the family. We condole with particularly the National Resistance Army people. The UPDF, yes, but particularly the National Resistance Army comrades.
You have made a distinction.
Yeah. There is a distinction, of course. One succeeded the other. And no, Dr. Wanzara must be having a father. So, so when you talk about the family of Mzee Wanzara, senior, you have to. Wanzara Junior gets caught in it, but yeah. And so we condole with that. As far as I'm concerned, he has died young.
Already, 68.
68 years is young. Yeah. You still have much ahead of you. And of course, we are going to discuss that, like you said. My concern is also the continued uncertainty of the weather patterns.
Okay.
And the influence they are having on our productivity and our production, and how that is going to impact all the other things, because our children are going back to school. So those things, the weather for me, the weather patterns, the climate is another extremely concerning thing that I'm not sure we are paying adequate attention to. But I'm happy to be back. I'm grateful to God. Apollo, I am grateful to God that I am the one who comes and comes back. Who am I? So thank you, Lord. For this.
Thank you, Richard. And how was the week, Richard?
It's a mixed week. It started off well. I am a happy man on that side of the earlier part of the week. I featured in the national newspaper, the largest circulating national newspaper, the New Vision. Wow. And I did not only feature there, I featured on page 4 with President Museveni and several envoys. Page 4 for the newspaper, like the New Vision, is an excellent. And take half of it. Yeah. And the discussion for me is something close to my heart. It's about nutrition. Wow. So I had a string of meetings with the leaders of CSOs. Oh, I should call Wanzara. Now, Wanzara, I'm calling you for the next one. Yeah. Yes. Oh, my God. And we are talking about nutrition. Okay. But one of the things that we talked about is the overweight and obesity among our school-going children, particularly from the middle and upper income parents. Families, households. It is because traditionally for us malnutrition is for the poor, the ones who are not eating. Now malnutrition, we have a double burden in the country. It's attacking the rich, but it is being looked at. They are looking good, they are looking healthy, they are eating well, or rubbish. Yeah, and so I think we need to pay attention. So being published, and also my quote was also made the quote of the week for the New Vision. Of course, I was competing with. Recite that quote. I was competing with the General Kainerugaba on social media. But what I was saying, just to recap quickly, is that it is unfortunate and it is sad that we visibly see an increase. Visibly, you just need to stand at the schools, see, especially the children, increasingly becoming obese and overweight, and we are still either shy to talk about it because we say we don't want to stigmatize, we don't want to label, or we are actually ignorantly saying that the children are healthy and looking good. That is a big statement and a matter of concern. Thank you so much, Richard. I'm always privileged to have you on this show. Dr. Gerard Wanzara, welcome to the show and speak to our viewers and probably tell us what your week was like.
Yeah, good morning, viewers. Of course, it's always a pleasure being here. I also want to take the opportunity to welcome you back. Thank you. From Nairobi. You covered us so well, and I think the Soul TV viewers were updated every moment. They are not left behind. In the course of the week, there are a number of things that took place, but what is more annoying, but also which was expected, was the abuse of the PDM funds. I think you talked about Kitugum. I also saw some people chained in Gulu. You know, there are people who are taking advantage of the new cities because there are no structures, the human resource is very low, they have not yet recruited, so they go and collect money from traders and put in their pocket. This is very bad, but I'm glad to say I'm part of the team that is organizing a conference for Mbale City to bring private sector together, to bring the technocrats, to the politicians, to forge a way for the future of Mbale City. So for me, that was a plus. But out of PDM itself, remember when we were here with Baguma, we said, was it informed by data? Do we get a blanket program for the whole country? Have we sensitized politicians? It will end up backfiring, and I think it's already beginning at a crawling level.
Imagine.
But
So,
it's giving you an opportunity to call leaders and start bidding for 2026. So there is already a silver lining in every cloud.
Actually, I don't know if I don't know if people will start looking at it as a political gimmick, because I think the whole idea and concept started around 2020. You remember when we were transiting from Emioga somehow going to PDM. I don't know.
by the way, even Emioga has not transited yet. It's still existing, but if you go for recovery rate, the other day I was asking in my district, Namisindwa, I think they have recovered like from only 30%. The revolving fund.
Those
the rest of the
may
money,
be doing well, by the way.
yes, the rest of the money has disappeared.
Has it disappeared?
And also, before we lose this argument, I can quote the chairman of Ushenyi, who said, this program is not suitable for Ushenyi because we don't have poor people. In its design, it is targeting the 39% out of the money economy. For us, we have eliminated this.
But it's unfortunate that such a program, which has been hyped as one that will actually make a big difference in the economic prospects and livelihoods of many, is suffering these
It is lack
challenges.
of seriousness. We are lacking seriousness from top to bottom. Because now, if you send 17 million to a parish 1 week to the end of the financial year, what do you expect those people to do? Then before you sensitize, you send the money. Circles are not registered, you put money in the district account. So the vouchers are waiting for the money.
And we had all the time to prepare and organize.
One thing that is really a problem in this country, we have turned politics into a whole sector that we have 2-point-something million elective positions. Now, it has affected the quality of leadership. If you go to small districts, especially the new ones, councillors do not even comprehend government policies. So if you cannot understand the design of parish development model and you're a councillor at the district, how are you going to monitor what's happening in your area?
Well, unfortunate reports there that the funds meant for the PDM are being mismanaged when actually the program is a baby. Is a baby is setting off. My name's Prince Apollo, and Gerard Werihe Wansara is the head of research and civic engagement at Africa Leadership Institute, one of those NGOs that oversees or does oversight on parliament and on other matters of governance in this country. Welcome to the show. Like I said, you can be part of this discussion. You will be sending SMSs, short messages, either on WhatsApp or through our regular SMS platforms to 0701 609906, and you tell us what you think about the discussion in the studios. Two main issues to discuss this morning: the legacy of General Elly Tumwine, a man who, of course, has been described as one of many hats, a musician. Actually, he was at one point referred to as a singing general, but of course we know that he's a professional military soldier. He is a visual arts a professional and a practitioner. He has been a legislator in parliament representing the UPDF. He has been in circles of security as minister and then as the director SO and all those other issues. But he died this week in Nairobi Hospital. Last evening, his body was flown back into the country, and like Baguma said, it is a somber moment for Ugandans, especially the NRA historicals. We checked, and only 8 are surviving out of the 27, and it must have been a very, very bad moment for the UPDF fraternity, and of course everyone in that camp. We commiserate with the family, the relatives, the UPDF fraternity, Ugandans at large, upon the death of Elly Tumwine. And looking back to his legacy, as a point of discussion, it has been a mixed bag. A section of the society actually condoling, while another section, especially on social media, are bringing out negative comments about the general, as portraying him as someone who is arrogant, who had less regard for other people's lives. Well, that's another matter of concern. Maybe we can look at. But let me ask my guests to tell us what exactly they think about the legacy of Elly Tumwine. Richard Baguma, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I think for me, Elly Tumwine has two parts to him. There is there is the one part where he is a focused and determined person and desirous to do good. Yes, that's for me one side of him. That you finish university and you have prospects of work, of and you are not from a background that is too underprivileged. You are not from a background that is too bad off. But you choose within months of your finishing to go and actually take up a cause that is absolutely risky to your life, a cause of arms and fighting. You already decided in your mind that what I see and is not good, I must be part of fighting it. Now, I always say it is extremely difficult for many of us to step out of our comfort and relative privilege to go take risks and sacrifice for the good of even yourself, but your society. So I think there is that person who, even you can see from his young, relatively advantaged position, he still would go out to sacrifice. And that continued throughout his life. And I think the people who worked with him and those who deployed him understood that genuine desire and commitment and readiness to sacrifice to achieve the good, the greater good. I think that was the one element. Now, and that cut across his being concentrating on religion, his being religious, being a family man, is that. Then there was this other side, which did not recognize the need for diplomatic, creative, innovative public image management as very high ranking, as a very consistently very high ranking person. There was that, it's a good one, the take it or leave it thing. Yes, but you have to work to manage it if it is casting you into negativity and therefore affecting your other side and your delivery. That
you look at it as a weakness.
Yes, he was never able to manage that one. And I think, so that is the other side. On the overall, for me, I think he is a very successful individual. He joined the army and flew through to the top. So if he had joined academics, he would be a professor. If he had joined the civil service, he would probably be a permanent secretary or whatever. So for me, the area he took, he rose to the very top. And he rose quickly. You see, there is nothing more that takes about your success if you are the top among equals. If you are the first among peers, you see, that tells that you are that leader. So you become army commander of all, the people you have gone with. You see, even in circumstances where you take the first shot of a war, that means you are at the front line. Yeah. That means you look at this danger and you have the determination, whatever the outcomes and whatever. So for me, that's a person that I see in the broader terms. In the current dispensation, we have a current dispensation of hate. It's very unlikely that if you belong to a certain ethnic group or level of governance, or you will not be liked anyway. So whatever it is you do or say is likely to attract a certain level of hostile energy. And I think that is one of the things that General Tumwine.
So, Baguma, the hostility that we have witnessed, especially on social media, towards General Tumwine, both in life and death, may be related to his affiliation, not his character per se, or his actions.
I think it's partly to his character, of course. Majorly, in my view, to his affiliation. What side is he associated with? What, But also to his character. You see, this truth-telling that is not smoothened on the edges. It's true, blunt truth-telling. Let me tell you, Apollo. Me and you should know that if you are disagreeing with somebody who is armed, even if it's in a traffic, even if it's a quarrel on a traffic incident, they can shoot you.
There's a possibility.
Yes, that if you are, I remember a colleague of mine was shot by a guard, a security, because of a parking slot. You went to park somewhere, the other one said, you can't park here, the other one said, but I am the one who, and the guy,
like a 30 minutes.
Put in him a body.
But those are bad characters.
Yeah, but you see, when I am the one, and you have a gun, I see the circumstances. For me, I will be calmer. I will attempt at every stage to be calmer, whether you are a robber, whether you are a villain. And so when he comes and says, you see, we are in a tense situation, and there are armed people on the street. Be careful how you conduct yourself. They can actually shoot you.
Now you speak like him.
So, the truth is...
You speak like him.
The truth is, they can... that's the truth. They can actually shoot you. When we were in Makerere, they closed the university. We had a strike. They closed the university. Because the guys shot at us and killed some of us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now, I remember I was telling somebody, she's now a judge actually. I had been telling her, she was a law student at that time, that, you see, please, don't go to the front. Don't go. Those guys have been here. I'm not sure whether they ate. I'm not sure whether they have bathed or what. I'm not sure what their level of anger is. So please, you just don't be in front. And where this thing came from, where when they shot, I don't know where she was, but she actually lost one of her shoes. She took off and one of her shoes got on her. So she was narrating to me that what you have been telling me. Now I have even lost my shoe. I said, yes, but we should be thanking God that you did not lose your leg. Or you are alive because the other ones died.
So, Magma, you're making a case that even we members of the society must be careful when confronting those violent situations.
Yes, we must be careful, but Apple, I'm saying the way you tell the members of the public, that is what I'm talking about. The way you communicate that message can actually turn the public, which you are trying to caution, against you.
All right, I think that's a good start off. Let's go to Doctor. Doctor, what do you make of these conflicting opinions around General Tumwine's legacy?
First of all, let me also convey my condolences to the family of General Tumwine, the UPDF, the NRA. I will also attempt to separate them because they are the father and the son, and then of course the entire country upon losing the general. I would begin by saying that in life we all have the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I looked at the general, I've observed him for a number of years. One, he looked a very smart and intelligent soldier to me. And after my A level, those are some of the people who motivated me almost to join the army. Because I looked at them as intelligent, they were educated, and I admired them. I actually wanted to join the army because of them. One. I look at him as a person who left a legacy of courage. There are so many people who have underplayed, people who went to the bush to fight. But it's not simple to be confronted by an idea and then you take the courage to translate the idea into reality, especially taking such a dangerous venture. Okay? No matter what pushed them to go and whether they are doing the right thing, that's another day of debate. But the fact that he was courageous, he believed in an idea, and he worked towards achieving it. Now, I also looked at the general in another way, on a negative note. I think those who may talk of some arrogancy, it was there.
Really?
It was there, because I remember when he was being probed for having pulled a pistol at Honorable Cecilia Ogwal. And they were running battles in Parliament. He wasn't remorseful, and there were allegations of deleting the recordings and things like that. And I think when he was summoned by the committee, I remember it was kind of very ugly. So to me, that portrayed a character of someone who was not ready to bend to the rules, to the order of the day, to respect rules. But if I'm to look at him from another angle, I remember I attended the wedding anniversary of the Professor Tango Doi in Makerere University. They were celebrating 25 years of marriage. The general was the chief guest at the function, and at that time he said, I have loved God all my life, but I had one problem which caused me a problem with my wife. I loved women. He confessed it, even the New Vision quoted it. So I attended the Sunday Church, where I also found him preaching. So he's someone who really mixed with society, and he loved art. He liked passing it on. Sometimes he visited schools. Even when you visit his home at home in the village, he has practiced art. You look at it, he's someone who admired good things. He did not over-enrich himself, but of course he had a scandal, to do with a public building.
Namo Gallery.
A normal gallery. How he acquired it. And I remember when Parliament wanted to know how he acquired it, again the response was not very, very good. So such a character sometimes shows other people that when you are interested with public property, you are free to just grab it and take it for yourself. How about now? He served in Parliament for a long time. He has left a legacy for having been, I think, the longest serving army official. But also for us who are also observers of politics, we are still questioning why should the army continue being in the Parliament. But he has left that legacy. And then in respect to last year, after he was dropped from the cabinet, following the general election, he gave a speech during the handover. He called upon the president to retire. He said it is high time. If I'm to quote him, he said, I know the head of state is always used to balancing here and there, but you are the only one who is not changing yourself. I think don't be like in Runyankore, what we call a bad brewer. I think that's what he used. He said because a brewer who does not take advice ends up producing bad brew, making bad brew. So he said, he's my friend, he's my mentor, but I'm going to talk to him. So I see a person who wanted, at least as he's also retiring, the country to also move on probably from the NRA and transit and let the country run by other people other than those who really went to the bush. Okay,
you talk about the negative responses coming from a section of the public. These negative comments portraying him as arrogant, as one who had less regard for other people's lives. And we said, like Paguma said, it could be about his political affiliation. But could there be much more than that?
I think when I observe all the Bush war generals, there is, apart from a few, there is a struggle between being a professional soldier and being a member of the NRM. There is always that struggle. And when you saw the head of state announcing the death of the general, like I was saying, he said NRM stroke NRA stroke
NRM
UPDF, the three. So according to him, and I have seen so many generals struggle with this distinction, whether to serve the country or whether to serve the partisan politics. And we keep on seeing this manifesting even during electoral processes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll start off from there. But let me, viewers, introduce Honorable Barnabas Tinkasimire, Member of Parliament for Buyaga West, a dialogue here, and Honorable, it's a pleasure having you back on the show.
To our viewers, good morning, and my panelists, thank you for the input you have already done. To our host for inviting us once again, we want to thank you so much. It has been a busy time for me. I went to US and returned, went to Nairobi for the election. I was there actually for 2 weeks because I went before the polls. Then you return, you run to the constituency, and I still think today I'm going to the constituency also. I almost abandoned the show, but I said no.
Thank you.
Let me try to make some time.
Thank you.
It is an interesting subject that I found you on. Equally, my condolences to the family, because losing a head of a family is something that is big. General Tumwine is dying at a very early age, 68 years. In our family is you are dying as a young person, because my father dies at 115 years. He produced me when he was 65 years, so he's General Tumwine has young.
This man is giving me a lot of confidence. Thank you very much, namesake. I can still fire.
Yeah, you can if you have the energy.
Honorable Barnabas, General Elly Tumwine has been eulogized as a patriot, a liberator, a family man, and a soldier of an accomplished legacy. I don't know what you make of his legacy.
No. For me, I want to only emphasize two things. Maybe the third one could be a negative one, but the two things are that he loved work.
Really?
For me, the time that I have known General, I met him when I went to the 8th Parliament. That was in 2006. I have not seen him even a single day when he's not working. When he's not working, particularly to earn money for his family. And of course, we who were entering parliament, it also spoke to us. If these people who fought, can work to this level, then I should fold my sleeves to double my efforts. Two, he loved the art and music, particularly promotion of African art. This is where you would find he, at one point, he loved this bitenge, African style.
At one time he was thrown out of parliament for putting on.
And before I joined the parliament, actually, I used to buy from his shop.
Wow.
Subsequently, when I joined the parliament, after getting few things about these generals who said they fought for a cause, a particular cause, and abandoned the cause, I equally abandoned buying his things. Because he was not any more motivating to me because of those of that thing that we fought and you abandoned the cause. Largely like other generals, he was very arrogant.
Like other generals?
Yes.
That's how you put it?
Yes. Even because some people keep quiet. Like General Kutesa, Pecos Kutesa, was a largely very quiet officer. But he was very arrogant. The same person here that has passed on, he was very, very arrogant. He arrested the Honorable Theodore Sechkubo almost 4 times in a week.
Really?
In December. That there was a quarantine that we were trying to break a quarantine, and it was messy. We would go to police. They refuse to give. He gives an order. They can't give us a bond. We go to court. They give him bail. He's arrested again. And
when he was Minister for Security.
Yes, yes. This one, I think I will just keep praying for him because that the Lord forgives him for all the flaws that he had as a human being. All of us have our own flaws.
Yeah, true.
And in this particular time when he has passed on, we who are still living, we can and have that feeling that a family has lost somebody great in the family. We pray for the family to remain strong, and we keep praying for him that the Lord may forgive him. Maybe he has had the time to say sorry, and to say sorry to his God, because the sickness that he had, he also knew that he was not going to recover. So I believe he has had a time to reconcile with his God. And if he has reconciled with his God, what do we have for him? Why we human beings would we continue to hold him?
But Honorable, these negative comments somehow taint a legacy.
Of course, certainly. Because
why would it be?
Like that thing of normal gallery. All along, I actually thought it was his property.
But it's a public property.
When I interacted with Pius Bigirimana, the permanent secretary of gender by then, and he disclosed the information regarding that property, I said, is this how generals behave? I remembered how General Tinyefuza almost grabbed a KCCA house, and it took the intervention of the committee which I was chairing to throw him out. To throw him out. I said, is this? Then his later on, he starts a company to lend money. He has an office given by Parliament, and he's using it to do that particular business. Personally, I said, I thought this man was a CFD. What does this speak to his morality?
Is lending out money evil?
No. Using parliamentary office to do such business, because he was not sitting in the office. They actually had three offices for that purpose inside on Bowman House. Bowman House, because we were the first people, I think, in the 9th Parliament. That's when they hired it out for members of Parliament. And well, I kept quiet.
Okay.
I kept quiet, but we could speak. But I did not have any confrontation with him, save for the time when they beat us in the House.
Okay.
During the amendment, the Constitution Amendment.
2017.
Because he was behind everything, he participated in everything. In everything. They were the people who were saying, pick the other one. General Tumwine. Katumba was down, but General Tumwine was up in the gallery, like literally commanding who to pick with Major Gumisiriza, the MP. Guma.
Now Lieutenant
Lieutenant Lieutenant Kano, I didn't know that he was promoted. Maybe after that he commanding, he was promoted. You saw the nasty pictures that were in the House.
Okay.
I will agree with the doctor that it is high time we thought about the army leaving Parliament. Literally, they have no business, because if you are going to proclaim that you are a people's army, then again you are dirtying yourself with what is politics, particularly politics that turns ugly, like the scenes that we saw in the House. Then we would say no.
Okay. I think you make your case that if he was not in Parliament, maybe he would not have been involved in those ugly scenes we saw in the Kojukwatako Protestant campaign.
There are even those ones who were not there who participated.
Okay. But largely, I
who participated?
I think, Honorable, you agree with those people who think that he has not been part of that group who fought to enrich themselves and grab everything. To some extent, he restrained himself.
Where he has worked for a very long period of time, but you must know that he's not a poor man.
Okay.
He is not a poor man. He, the traffic lights around the Kororo playground? Those ones that these vehicles going this side and this one is going to African Hotel. That way, somewhere in the corner, that's where he lives. That's his home. That's a very, very prime property.
But I think they all grabbed there when they arrived.
How he acquired that property, I don't know. As of today, that property is not less than 10 billion.
Okay.
And there is a neighbor also. He's Catholic. He gives churches the way say portraits, these pictures of Mother Mary, Jesus, what. He almost threw him out of his house. He's an old man. He's an old man with his wife. He one time loaded all his army men and besieged his house, and told him, may you leave this house, I want to buy it. The old man said, do you not buy this house?
So in just a few sentences, we are going for a break, Honorable. Honorable, we are going for a break, but in just 2 minutes, do you think the negative comments all over on social media portraying him as a villain, as a man who, especially from his statements he made recently, that police has the right to shoot you if you violate?
You can imagine a person...
Are those negative comments justified in any case?
A person believing that a police has... Why should a police have the right to shoot? Shoot who? Huh? Does the police have the right to shoot? I thought
what
they
if you want what if you want to disarm a policeman? What are the standing orders?
No, they say you shoot to maim, not to kill. You can shoot the hands, you can shoot in the legs, but when you shoot in the chest, the penal code will get you on murder. Your action of shooting in the chest, in the head, is not to maim, according to the law, is to kill. And this is a civilian who is not armed anyway. But if he is armed, then he is qualified as a robber and other things. I don't want people to carry this in the public, that General Tumwine was a poor man. No! And actually, he could have died with a lot of billions on his account.
Okay,
but I would also be one of the most disappointed human beings if General Tumwine was a poor man. Really, I would be extremely disappointed.
For me,
and I'm a commander,
with
a minister for security, a director general of external security, and the longest serving MP for the army. The Tinka Similes who have been in parliament shorter are billionaires. Okay. I'm not saying this one particularly, but I'm saying the MPs really, they are propertied, they are doing well. So I would be disappointed. I would be very disappointed.
I want to give to the public. When I was interacting with him, he wanted to start planting trees, because I told him my business, I plant some trees, blah, blah, blah. He said, yes, I have been told you have a lot of trees, but he told me also venture in cows. So I asked him, how many do you have? He said, I think this was in around 2011, he had 37,000 heads of cattle.
That is...
And he showed me the films of the pictures, very, very nice.
So he has died a wealthy man.
Because even if we would not put other properties,
he would be disappointed if
I would be deeply disappointed.
But
like, it's like when
by 2011, somebody who has 37 heads of cattle, a cow in 3 years, will produce 2 cows.
Okay.
For me, Honorable Tinkasim, yes, honestly, if I find you poor, I will, if I have a cane, I will make you lie down and I cane you. Honorable Tinkasim, you have been in the parliament long enough not to be poor. Leave property for your children, please.
Okay, viewers, this is the dialogue. We go for a quick break. When we come,
don't glorify poverty.
Into the legacy of and all other issues. We go for a break and return shortly. The break. This is the dialogue. My name is Tsima Polo, and in the studios, Honorable Barnabas Tinkasimire, Member of Parliament for Buyaga West, and he's a lawyer. Now we have Baguma Richard Tinkasimire, communication specialist, but again we have Dr. Gerard Werihe Wanzara, and he is the head of civic research and civic engagement at Africa Leadership Institute, and we're looking and digging deep into the legacy of General Elly Tumwine, a man who has been eulogized as a patriot, a Pan-Africanist, an accomplished military a soldier, and all those. But looking at the conflicting opinions around his legacy on social media, a section of the population portraying him as a person who has been insensitive to the lives of others, especially relating to the statements he made in 2020 at Media Center, telling the citizens at the height of protests and murders, I mean shootings from security forces, and telling the citizens that police has the right to shoot you if you exhibit a level of violence towards them, really turned around a big chunk of his legacy. And Richard Baguma, let me pick your opinion on this animosity and that comes with the death of these people affiliated to the NRM and the NRA. What it means. And luckily this time we didn't see people coming out with parallel causes of death, post-mortem reports. You remember that has been a practice when a big official in government dies, then a section of the public comes up with their other post-mortem reports. He died of lung cancer in Nairobi. And as a communication specialist, what do you think this means to our country and the future of this country when people die and their voices coming out with negative comments?
You see, there is a gentleman I met in New York a while ago, Professor Elly Tumwine. I heard that when they took the late Right Honorable Lokori Ulanya,
Jacob Olanya,
that it was among the leaders of the people who were demonstrating around the hospital.
Seattle
was Professor Elly Tumwine. And I was a bit surprised. When I met Elly Tumwine, we had gone for the UN General Assembly, and he had a group. He was telling about Dictator Museveni and all the other things. And when I finished my drink, I said I would also like to bring the other side. Like my namesake here has brought about the general's apparent poverty and wealth situation. And I said, you see, Professor Tumwine, I have a challenge with you. You are a son of a number 3 person in Uganda, Dr. Otema.
No, Otema Alimadi.
Who was prime minister. Now, you came to study this way because of the privilege of the scholarships of government that you had access to. Yes, you have studied and now become a professor, but also partly because you were thrown out of government, you couldn't come back anyway, so you were encouraged to study. But I don't expect you to love the people who took bread out of your mouth. So I have to gauge your hostility from that perspective. And you see, therefore, you have to look at the different sources of hostility that come. One, you talked about my communication aspects. We have more space and velocity. We have more availability of space, velocity, to express ourselves openly and publicly and multiply our voices all over. So even where you might have had hostility previously, there was not that ability, there was not the same communication ability to express that hostility publicly. So that's one. The second thing is that you have, especially the younger section of the population, where we could share the sentiment that when you have a group that stays that overstays their welcome, then you are going to generate hostile sentiments. So there's this, that after 40 years you have overstayed your welcome, after 40 years in power. And the things you do to maintain yourself in that power keep on harming and hurting people. So you have an increasing pool of people who have been harmed and hurt, but also who feel they're on the periphery, who feel they are denied opportunity, who feel, So that pool also increases. So it means you have more voices.
Baguma, do you find this hostility justified?
Partly.
Partly,
yes. You see, let's talk about the issue of arrogance that has been talked about. I come from a cattle keeping background. Now, for me, it doesn't matter whether the cattle keeper is from the east or is from across in Kenya, or is from the Horn of Africa, or is from the Southwest, generally for us, we are fairly arrogant human beings.
It's your character. Part of your character.
I don't know whether it's built by our environment or whatever, but we are fairly arrogant human beings. Yeah, cattle keeping. By the way, you need to see when we are in our villages, the poor ones, they're still arrogant. Poor guys, they're still arrogant. They look at this one and they say derogatory words about a charter, whatever the terms we use. And you say, but this one, why would he be thinking that the other one? So now,
he should be to some extent not be blamed for
why
that
not?
arrogance.
I mean, for me, I think that arrogance should be blamed. That's I'm saying I'm from that from those communities. It should be blamed. Why? Why do we assume? And now, so combine that with a little power.
Oh, Baguma.
You will find, by the way,
Baguma. Oh, it is that self-entitlement, especially within the historicals, the NRA historicals, and that.
No, for me, I'm starting from us as a people. Now, when you combine that sense of superiority with entitlement, and the entitlements are actually there. You see, Apollo, if you have a car clearing your way for 30 plus years, it starts becoming second nature to you if you are not careful. If you are, you have to have a lot of self-examination and cleansing and repetitively not to forget that this is not a birthright. No, you are likely to start having it as a birthright, and so that's one. But two, there is a certain level of quote unquote madness, and I have said this several on TV, among the people who you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 30. And you go to face a 40,000 strong force. There is a certain level of madness that you see. There are some 40,000 or whatever guns on the other side, but for us we shall take 27 guns and fight them. There has to be
some level of insanity.
Yeah, it's so that's the other one.
It's not just courage.
So it's not. These are not just. So when you make these combinations, these are not just your everyday boys. They have that. For me, when I used to graze, and you see a small lanky person, really, we would still put our sticks in the path, and we say you cross it. But I'm spoiling for the fight. And that's our, and that would be the right.
Mape is bringing out
but
the real character. Hold it there, Richard. Let me listen to Gerard. Should we, to some extent, forgive this class of 86 for some flaws that they have committed?
No, we cannot. First of all, the class of 1986 was totally not primitive. These are people who had been in university.
Yes.
They were exposed. You know, they were exposed. There are others, for instance, the head of state, you know his history. He was in State Research Bureau, you know, then he was in Dar es Salaam in other struggles. He later came to cabinet, the Minister for Regional Cooperation. He was also a defunct almost vice president of Paul Mwanga. So these were not people simply from the bush. When you look at the Tumwines and others, we are people from university with a degree in art and a postgraduate diploma in education. He's a teacher. All teachers are they are trained as a training teacher. So if you look at others, their CVs were not just of bushmen. So I expect that if you have left that background and come say to an environment like Makerere and related with the people of other ethnicity, and also they have attended different kinds of colleges, military colleges after that. Fort Leavenworth in the US, the others in Egypt, and you know,
and even
Egypt,
Chimaka, our staff,
and so forth. Maybe the only I would only give as an exception to a few. There are those who got ranks of generals in 1985, 86, when they had never, you know, from cadet You know, cadet is junior staff college. Then later you go senior staff college, then war college, then national defense college. But there are those who jumped, then they went back for junior courses. Others did not go, but they already had the ranks. So in terms of behavior of a soldier, you are not well shaped. You are not very well shaped. But the exposure of being in parliament, of holding cabinet positions, and looking at the world. Right now, communication is so open. We are in a global village because of ICT. What happens elsewhere we can see. I have been following President Uhuru Kenyatta, the way he addresses the nation. When, you know, when he's always standing, the respect when he's talking to the public and issuing directives. That language, I rarely see it here.
Really?
I rarely see it here. So I think we need to speak over and over again, tell people that when you have that lead car, when you have that convoy, it is not your money. You are being facilitated by a poor man in Karamoja who is buying salt and is paying VAT. So they know that the money they are using is not theirs. One time I saw, I think one of the soldiers I respect here, Koreta, General Koreta.
He's
when
the
he
one
said,
who respected.
He's one of the
General.
Yes, he said, when I have an early morning business, I have to wake up early. There's no business why I should push other Ugandans off the road as if they don't matter, as if this is not their country. We see this every day. Why can't people know that? By the way, we even put it in the law. We know people who have right of way. Not all of these vehicles we are seeing pushing us aside, causing commotion. And it is really annoying when it is a time of jam, 5 p.m. We all want to go home and see our children. Are yours very special? So I think we just need to continue telling leaders that let them serve us with humility, because the resources they use are for all of us, not individuals.
But not just steering, also accountability mechanisms. I don't know how they can be enforced, but you see, sometimes when you tell people and nothing is happening, they tend to ignore you. When you tell people and you know there are no sanctions,
I think,
you know?
I think, Richard, that that goes back to that that sense of self-entitlement. You remember what happened with is he Lieutenant General Charlie Gonza? How he has been involved in violent,
not once.
Yes, in violent incidents. And
Let me tell you, all generals,
I am concerned.
Apollo. All generals. You look at General Kahindo Tafiri. You go badly on his, he will slap you.
Yeah.
All generals. Same for President Museveni.
There is the one who
President Museveni
who slapped a fellow member, a colleague at Parliament.
Yes, President Museveni will abuse you in those bad words. You are a baboon, you are. But if he would grab you, I don't know a number of those who interact with him in private, how much he has slapped him.
When he's properly annoyed with you, he calls you a pig.
And you know he's the head of the state.
Yeah.
He's the head of
he belongs to the Council of 86.
That group, God should forgive us. And that's why persistently we have called upon President Museveni that it is high time he yielded power to the younger generation. The only biggest trouble that he's triggering in this country, thinking that he's going to leave power to his son. We would want this group to have something being protected.
Okay.
But if we will wait to talk about the legacy of President Museveni, like the way we are talking now about the legacy of Elly Tumwine when he has died, then it will be a totally different story. But I think those who are still in power, they have lessons to learn. That yes, you can bulldoze Ugandans, you can be too powerful, but there is one thing which you must answer. The inevitable call from your creator will humble you. And this speaks volumes Even those who don't believe in God, who ask questions whether God lives or exists, one day you will answer that call. And it is high time. It's high time. That's the only area that we can thank God for in the life of Honorable General Elly Tumwine. I am sure General Elly Tumwine, during his sickness, he had time to reconcile with his God. It's because now I am not going to put my mind to ask God whether he's in heaven, but I suspect he could be in heaven. Because these army men, the biggest number, save for the general, they have just mentioned Ivan Koreta. He does not just speak.
A very humble man.
He lives that life of humility. But we have here generals who speak, but do the contrary. There was also another general who died. He was in OPM's office, Prime Minister's office. I have forgotten his name. He was an army man. Oketa? He was in Parliament.
Oketa?
Yes, Oketa. Oketa. Those were exceptional army men. And I believe even, I would even call them army men of God.
Because who died this year?
Because this type of humility, you do not find it anywhere. He was not always ready to push his side. You get me?
I am concerned. It's good you raised the issue of longevity in power, which has somehow created this animosity and from the young generation. They look at these historicals and that group, that class of 86ers as now who are insensitive to their interests and their future.
And Apollo, when you look through the social media and aggregate how many young people have posted any positive thing on General Tumwine, maybe 2% or 1% or none, simply because they have seen this group has occupied a space for as he stated, namesake, and and the doctor stated, they have occupied a space for so long that no one is getting out for them to enter. And many of them have now been relegated to positions where they should not be. Because I remember when we had just left university, it was not taking us long to get a job.
Honorable,
1 year, you would get a job. But now, a minimum, you have to take 5 years to get a job.
Forgive me that it is time now I open the next topic for discussion, because it is directly connected to what you're saying.
Thank you.
The investigations in Parliament, in the Kosase, where we see some sentiments of opening up space for the children of the historicals getting into office, big offices. You can start from there.
This is a creation of President Museveni. When you look at this cabinet is calling of fishermen, he even tries to trace, did you have anyone who fought in your family during the war we had in Rowero? If you don't have any connection, you are lucky to be there. At least he must trace a contribution your family made towards the cause they had in the bush. And now, on appointment, sometimes he thinks these people should be the ones to help him sort out certain things.
No, he made a statement, I think, at the start of this term.
But now the biggest trouble...
And he was relating it to corruption, that now he's bringing the children of the fighters to help him fight corruption.
But you discover that many of these fighters died. They did not even enjoy anything the way these ones have remained. Now the children have seen that a general has 40,000 heads of cattle. My father died when he did not, or my mother died when he did not even have a single cattle. Now they have given him a position. You think that person will come to fight corruption? He will come to make sure that something the father, something left, which the father fought for, the mother fought for, at least he takes it home. You are not going. That's why you would see this corruption continuing. That's why you will even see, you will continue to see mismanagement of government entities continuing to happen. Because the issue, what motivation do they have that their father fought? What would be driving them?
Are you concerned about the Kosasa investigations revealing that the top officials at Uganda Airlines are earning a lot too much, and while the airline is making losses?
First of all, before you get concerned about the salary, first get concerned about the manner in which this person got the job.
That was part of our discussion now.
You advertise, people apply. When they are applying, you write a letter to somebody directing a minister, your minister, that give so and so a job. When the process is going on, at least you would even have the courtesy to say, these Ugandans, they are Vandaba.
He's the kid of the fighter. She is.
So what? So what? At least observe the due process. At least observe the law. In the advert, they set standards. They say the executive director shall be a graduate, shall have postgraduate qualification, shall have experience at aviation in the aviation industry, not less than 20 years. Not less than 20 years. Now here we bring a person whom you ask, where is your senior for? He said, I to go to Lost. Where is your academic transcript for Makerere? Well, I have never picked it. As if Makerere is in Mars. You have to take an aerospace to reach there. After 28 years, when she left. 94, when she left. I left the following year. 95. 95.
Actually, when they produced the list, the graduation list, there is one that ran on social media.
That is the only piece of evidence.
Now, that if you read properly, my name is also there. So somebody just said to me, I said, hey, you are eating with the big people. And you know what was funny? On that very list, we also have the deputy MD of CAA, because we're in the same class.
You become a key witness in that probe, Richard.
Yeah, but we're in the same class.
You were in the same class, but now...
But you see, you need documentation to support that.
Yes, because now even if you saw an affidavit and that I was with her on the same graduation day, on matters of proving whether one went to class or not, academic documents have to be proved, have to be produced. If they are not there, you will not win a case in court. That piece of evidence may not be enough to sustain you to win that case.
Okay.
When you go on and see now the arrogance being exhibited by these so-called children of the fighters, did she need to start telling the world that no one who has her skills, no one will remove her from her office? By the way, even when the president described her that she's a young woman, she's actually old. But at the same time, she's not as old as President Museveni. So when you want to peg your existence in this country, because you have a letter of a president ordering a minister to appoint you without following any due rules, any due rules, and you think you have arrived, President Museveni is about to serve he's in the evening of his life. Anyone who doubts that one, I don't think that President Museveni has the genes of my father.
117, you say?
15.
15.
I don't think, because my father struggled. He died peacefully peacefully without falling sick. His life expired. You get me? It expired at 115. I am not seeing President Museveni reach that age that this woman will say, now I have, because President says he is 78, that I have around 20 something years to cling, that this man is going to protect me. No. If he may live 95 years, you may have that protection. That's 10 years. She only wants to work only for 10 years. What will happen? The money she would have gotten will be too much for this guy, for her.
Thank you.
Her children, what will happen to them?
Thank you, Honorable. Let me listen to Richard. I'm still concerned about the transition from the young generation, not from the old generation, the class of 86, to the young generation, when actually now we even see the members of this young generation who are the kids of the fighters being also slotted into this environment of animosity, where they will be also targeted. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
No, you see, there are many things that I think we are talking about here. You have started with this now. By the way, if President Museveni was to live as long as his father and his uncle and his auntie, me and Tinkasimere and Wanzara would be a lost generation. Because they all died above 95. None of them died below 95. So it means he would have another close to 20 years. And many of us would be in retirement and probably weak. So our generation would miss the opportunity at the table. So we are at the most at risk. We are the most at risk generation in terms of having a go at managing the affairs of this country. So that's one. And I think part of the most intense hostility comes from us. But because we have people whom we influence and they have the courage to go out, we have many people we influence. We influence with our arguments, with our words, with our positions. They go out and propagate this. A lot of it they propagate here on our behalf. A lot of these ideas, they come from us when we go campaigning, when we are lecturing, when we are in classrooms, when we are, when in our NGO positions, the papers that we write, the interviews that we give. So that's one. The second thing is that that gives us, we have this sense of alienation. We have this sense of being sidelined. We have this sense of being on the periphery. So we want to be actors. But we see we are not being given space to be actors. We are not even being given space to prove ourselves, even when we have what it may take to prove certain things. You see, the Honorable Tinkasimere here has only to tell you what he goes through to be a member of parliament. As the years go, it becomes more crude. It becomes more bruising. So you find that while he is movement in orientation, he has to be independent. Yeah, and otherwise that space is being taken away, and he feels it's taken away from him by cheating. It is taken away from him through fraudulent means. So he leaves the space which he would believe in and goes to the that still strives to create the space. Now there are many who will not have that possibility, and so that's one, that sense of alienation and what bruise sensitivity. You look at the near crisis that General Kainerugaba the birthday situation of General Kainerugaba, the near crisis is generated in the UPDF. Very uncommon, very unusual. But what about in the other political spaces? So that creates this alienation. And for me, one of the ways is really the way we manage this. Our public image, our communication, our public relations. How do we manage this?
From your perspective,
we mismanage this. We mismanage this grossly.
Okay.
You see, when they formed the anti-corruption unit of State House, they called me quickly to be communication consultant. And you see, we had, it's a State House unit. It was headed by a lady who was the president's private secretary.
Lieutenant Colonel Edith.
But Kano now. So,
Kano.
Yeah. But I think we had more positive publicity and public appreciation than negative, even when it was a unit that was directly a State House unit. It is because of the effort, the energy, the thinking, the candle burning we put in the image building of this. And so, Dr. Wanzara was talking about Uhuru. The guy who manages the social media, the head of social media for Uhuru, for State House in Kenya, is my friend. You can see the amount of strategizing they do. Now, for me, bringing us or even the younger ones into the system is right. That's what should happen. We should have the brigadiers now from our generation and a little younger, so that you are preparing them to be major generals and generals. And this can be done through the technical parameters that are agreed. If we agree that employing a chief executive officer
of an airline
is going to go to Jennifer, then we construct the process of recruiting Jennifer within the parameters that give her the job.
No, but that cannot work, Richard.
Why not?
These organizations have systems already.
Now that's where you go wrong. You see, for example,
there were already parameters set.
Yeah, and for example, why do you who sets the parameters? But who sets the parameters? The parameters are set by the board. The board is appointed by the minister, but by the president, really. So but the time of setting parameters, you set parameters where she fits.
Okay.
And no one will quarrel with you on those parameters. By the way, Uganda Airlines cannot pay the type of individual they had advertised to recruit. No, they are paid so well. Uganda Airlines is not competitive. You see, we forget quickly. In this year, the holiday in America was called what? Thanksgiving. There was chaos. There were cancellations of travel because the American airlines could not find enough pilots.
Allow me.
They could not find enough pilots. You see, when we don't talk about these things, we are trying to build an airline in Uganda, and we say it's loss making. How many airlines in Africa are profit making? Just one.
No, Ethiopian Airlines is making profits.
I said just one, and it's Ethiopian Airlines.
Let me tell our viewers.
So really, why do we think we are going?
Richard, let me tell our viewers that they can be part of this discussion. Please, our producers will be running the telephone on your set, 0701 609906. Send an SMS, don't call, send a WhatsApp message, and you can be part of this discussion. We are looking at the legacy of General Elly Tumwine, conflicting opinions around his legacy, and the investigations going on in Kosase, in Parliament, a committee of Parliament, and around the management of our national airline.
You see,
go right ahead.
For that airline really to make profit, to break even, you need 5 years. All the calculations exist. You see, for me, it's this PR thing. It's the way they are managing this. Then, Kosas, these thinkers emails. But they are human. They are human. They explain to them
But you see, the suspicion.
Explain to them these things. Bring the things before them. They meet how many CEOs? They meet. So why is there particular hostility to this one? How has it been arranged? How has it been approached? So if you botch it up, Kosase does that. Kosase has existed for decades.
Yes, and it is going to remain.
So why is there particular fire to this one? But finally also, what I would say is, of course, Bamturachi is being fought by the people which she fought.
You say she's being fought?
By the people whom she fought. She fought them out. She hounded them out. They are coming back to hound her.
But why? That should be fighting.
Why not? How many people in this country earn? The other one was earning
126.
You know how this one has to wait 4 months to get 126? The honorable Tinka Simri earns that money in 4 months. He earns 30, another 30, and he has to wait for...
But you see, Richard,
so if you are getting 126 million of our money,
Richard, the fire,
you must be delivering 126%. Exactly.
The fire comes after the revelations around her failure to present the academic documents.
No. That's not where the fire starts. The fire started with Mureya Aria. So was it academic qualifications which threw out Mureya?
Then the letter from His Excellency the President directing the minister
is it the first one?
To appoint this.
Is it the first one? You are here. How many letters has the President written appointing people? Parliament has queried them.
This time,
it's not the first one.
This time, the president can appoint, but you are not going to advertise. When the process is in the middle, people have put before expiration and you produce an MD for
that's what I'm talking about. Why do you flop the processes?
Yes.
But exactly. By the way, as much the Ugandans have had the opportunity to debate this, but this is what is going on in almost every sector. The other day I landed on a dossier from talking about the MD for water, recruiting over 60 people from Busheng, one area like this, into an institution like what?
Did they tell you how many of them
recently
came with chips from elsewhere? The chips he has.
But the point we want to make
I agree with you that you see this is systemic.
Yes. Recently I received
systemic but irregular.
I received information.
Wrong. Irregular. Wrong.
Apollo. I received information recently that there was a recruitment in URA where they recruited over 200 staff. Using a minute of 200 staff, someone added on 200 staff. And the person who was telling me said they went with Chizindalo. This is Mokarakasa you hear on in trading centers, in their places there, and announced anyone who wants to join URA. Anyone who wants to join URA.
You know that's not true.
So we have the URA tax collectors who have been recruited on Chizindalo, even who don't know what is VAT, who don't know what is withholding tax.
That is true. If that is true, it lays bare how impunity has members, if it is true, then it lays bare how impunity has taken over.
Impunity has taken over, but we cannot sit here and say that is true.
No. Because you tell me somebody has not applied for a job, but finds when he has a job, he is asked to go and collect identity card. He doesn't know where even to pick the identity card, where the office he belongs to, which department he doesn't know.
Okay, viewers, I will be picking on your comments. Send them to 0701 9906.
The advert was Chizindaro, and the one who had the Chizindaro is his father who was raising accounts.
Like the one
he said, my daughter, twahurira kunguhari yose mirimo nakayizina ryawe.
Let me come in.
Now, Doctor, you do oversight on Parliament.
Yes.
And I want us to look at the other side of these investigations.
Yes.
Because even the chairperson of the committee, Honorable Joyce Senyonyi, has had to withstand a lot of fire. I don't know if you have realized it from the other side, especially of the NRM and those people who support the government in power. Yeah, I don't know if from you as a doctor, do you think the committee proceedings are going on very well?
No, to be honest, for me as a person from the civil society who monitors Parliament, I can say I commend the work that COSASA is doing.
Really?
Because there is a reason why those committees were created to do oversight over government institutions. For the benefit of the viewers, COSASA means Committee on Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises. That it must be led by the opposite side of the government. First of all, what's the origin of the investigation? The origin of this investigation is the report of the Auditor General.
True.
The Office of the Auditor General is in charge of auditing all public institutions and presenting and reports to Parliament, so that Parliament can do kind of a post-mortem to debate and hold these people to account. So the issues that came out of the report are the issues that are guiding the conduct of the work of COSASA. Now, me, I will not debate the personality or the tribe or the origin of Mturachi, Jennifer. Well, the issue is, are we adhering? Do you see issues coming up of bad corporate governance practices? For instance, if you have established the board to do oversight over the management company of the airline, and then you have institutional policies such as the Human Resource Manual, because if they wanted the law to say, let the president be appointing, like it used to be, the old Uganda Airlines, the president would appoint the general manager.
Even with the authorities, I think.
With authority, yes. If it's in the law, it would be okay. But now, for Uganda Airlines, the law says the board shall advertise. And when they advertise, they list the credentials of the person that they want to advertise, to appoint. But when the advert is put out there, another letter comes from another source. Now, just imagine you are the chairperson of the board of Uganda Airlines. You have advertised a job, and the head of state has appointed. Even before people apply, you conduct interviews. How is the appointed manager going to look at you, the board chair? You are inferior.
Yeah, true.
You're already inferior to the CEO, meaning you cannot do oversight over the person occupying that office. We also looked at discrepancies in pay. Institutions have structures of pay. If you are directors, and I'm told, Honorable, what you said, this is the same thing happening at National Water and Sewage Corporation, where people at the same level don't earn the same. People lobby for money to be paid different. This is a systemic problem. If we don't cure it and we keep up personalizing the discussions, we are not going to put right our institutions. Now, we know that these corporate entities should be guided by some principles: transparency, some independency, and then integrity, and then accountability.
Yeah, true.
Because they use public funds. But I am seeing so many boards where politicians who lost elections, some of them with no integrity, are joining. Go and see the struggle at Uganda Railways Corporation. Because government is prioritizing Uganda Railway Corporation and maybe willing to invest their money. Everyone wants to be on the board.
But it is a challenge. Let me we are left with a few minutes, but let me read some of the comments. Good morning. Even Total Gas and Oil in Kampala, they make people to do application, but they don't call them. Okay, they bring in their people who are even who have not even applied for the jobs. Thank you so much, but you did not mention your name. Okay. Some of the messages. Good morning. I'm Teacher Mtebi from Victoria, Masaka. He says, I just appreciate the proper work and the panel. Thank you. He said, thank you so much. And those are comments coming in. Fred, I'm Fred watching from Muntinda. Geno RO 00023, that is the RI number for Geno Elly Tumwine, could have apologized to Ugandans the time he made those statements about the killings. I support Richard's comment on Bamutulachi thinking she will cling on the president, not knowing he is in the evening of his life. May the General rest in peace. Thank you so much, Fred, watching from Muntinda. And very other messages coming in, but let me give you a few minutes and we conclude. We only have 5 minutes.
Yes, there's something I wanted to
conclude in 2 minutes.
I'm really perturbed with this issue. When they're investigating Uganda Airlines, you see a group saying, we are, as Toro parliamentary group, we are against this investigation should stop. Is the Uganda airline owned by Batoro?
I saw a comment that I did not verify.
Yes.
Some honorable MP saying that the implications of that committee directly affects the Toro Kingdom. I don't know.
How? Did they mention about the...
No, because maybe the one routing is from Toro and it is increasing the money going to Toro.
Very unfortunate.
So if she's removed, Toro will receive now zero net income. But the truth of the matter, if we were to go to the Honorable Batoro, by the way, I respect Batoro so much. They are very, very diligent. They speak slowly, but they mean what they say. They mean what they say. If we went to Toro and asked them to present a CEO for the airline,
they are very many.
Would they present Bamuturachi? So this is why I agree with the doctor that my colleagues erred in attempting to defend, to portray Bamuturachi as a Toro thing, a Toro thing. All flaws that she's making, all the mistakes that she's making, first of all being arrogant, refusing to respond to the committee. What legacy is she trying to create? That she's too powerful that she cannot attend to the committee?
But I think that is what the doctor said. If you have the backing of the big man, then you can do anything.
You do not accept.
You can even refuse to appear before the committee.
To be misled, because what legacy are you trying to lead? Or to live by? That you defied the committee.
Honorable Barnabas, 1 minute and we conclude. One final comment.
I will ask the committee for COSASA to become harder. If these people who are making these outrageous orders are there, they should be exposed, and it becomes ugly such that actually they should even expand the investigations. If they have seen that people are getting jobs without even applying, let them investigate almost now that area only. Go to water, go to URA, go to CCA, go to where, and you see the trap they will get. Because Ugandans are tired.
Thank you. Baguma, the chairperson of COSASA said that he's even receiving threats from big people in government.
So a couple of things. One,
as you wind up, because we only have 1 minute.
A lady called Mbonye was controller of State House. She was in the parliament and they were, and she looked at them and said, aren't you the ones who come and collect the money? That ended.
That
ended. If the managing director of National Water and Sewerage Corporation brings out the cheats, the messages he receives from parliamentarians to recruit people,
Dr. Silva,
the fire will go down a bit. If President Museveni moves in his usual style and he's determined to have Bamuturachi, the fire will go down. Those I can promise you.
But what about management and performance?
If President Museveni is determined to have James Famamturachi in that position, the fire will go down. I can tell. If James Famamturachi behaves like one or two other CEOs we have had, the fire will go down. There are also other things that happen in Vuvera and Kutias. Now, finally, I want to condole again with the family of General Kutias and their loved ones. Whatever happened, we probably need to start forgiving each other.
Good. Doctor, in just one statement.
Yeah, to thank Honorable Jarama Penduzi. We have been waiting for a report from his committee. You know, local governments are really struggling, and the whole year we are not.
He was dislodged from that committee. He was switched. He's no longer.
He's not, but the report was tabled this week, and by him because he was a chairman by then. The only challenge that I thought it did is very little, because it is based on 14 local governments, and these include districts and self-accounting local governments. So, but we shall look at the report to see. But so far, I see it unearthing a lot. People who are turning new administrative units into their cash cows.
Into cash cows.
And then, of course, the struggling PDM, parish development model.
Thank you. Thank you so much, the panel, and thank you so much, our viewers. It's a great honor to host you all these 2 hours. Henry from Namisimba, I'm really embarrassed by the comments. Greetings to Gerard. I'm happy to hear from you, from the discussion, and he's Henry from Namisimba. I hope he knows you. Viewers, thank you so much for your time. The discussion from the legal battle in Kenya will come hopefully next week. We didn't get time for that. But I must thank Honorable Barnabas Tinkasimile, the Member of Parliament for Buyaga West. Thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure having you on the show. Baguma Richard, communication specialist.
I am going to Ruborogota. We have to bury there. So
yes, actually,
send me to greet your people.
Mr. Mirisera sent a message that he knows you very well.
How many cows are you going to slaughter?
I am his son.
And he's
how many cows are you going to slaughter? Because for us, we have eating big when it's such